Welcome back to another first impressions, this time for the anime Dead Account. Synopsis on any list. Always ready for a fight. Destruction for destruction's sake. The online streamer Auringo is a troll, making the worst of boundary-pushing flame-bait content and raking in the revenue from the hate watchers. You may think he's nothing more than a bottom feeder and a drain on society. But in reality, he's high school dropout Soji Inishiro, a caring older brother with a sweet tooth who loves nothing more than his little sister. His viral videos? Just a way to pay his sister's medical bills. And even if all of humanity hates him, he doesn't care, so long as his little sister gets better. But then something very strange begins to happen. Okay, so we have Soji and Inishiro, who's the guy with the blue hair. His motivation to be doing this content. So he is essentially, it is described here as flame bait content. He's doing like cowardly content, like one of the examples they gave, he sucker punched a dude, a martial arts fighter. Sucker punching is more or less attacking them unaware with a big attack, so they cannot really defend your follow-ups. You know, it's not really a fight, it's just you punching some unaware dude, and that is his video more or less. Gets like a bunch of views, which naturally mean a lot of money in something similar to like YouTube. And he does that to pay for the bills for his little sister. She has some kind of sickness. They can't really help her in Japan, so he is preparing money to ship her off to America to then get cured there. That is his motivation. Now in this world we get a little introduction to the namesake, Dead Account. Now, I never thought about that, but every year people die. And what happens to their accounts like Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Steam, essentially? What happens to those accounts? Now, in this world, some of these accounts can be possessed by spirits. And these spirits can then slowly but surely manifest in the real world. They can then potentially hurt people in the world. Now, in this show, we have all of these characters. They're more or less exorcists. We have a flame fist. We have a big hammer. We have these other characters. They are exorcists. They are there to get rid of these spirits that are possessing these accounts. Now, they are more or less an offshoot to the traditional exorcists that you probably know from other works or shows. But because this is more digitalized, they have an evolved form of their psychic abilities that is psychic stuff thingy. I do not remember the real name. But they have an advanced version that works on these cybernetic ghosts that otherwise you cannot really fight against them. That is the idea, the setup, okay? Now, we can go into spoilers later. Character-wise, I mean, I can understand the main character. I find his motivation totally understandable. Don't really like his type of character. He's, very... He is full of energy. He is somewhat aggressive. He has the same voice actor, I believe, like Bakugan. He's like Bakugan from My Hero Academia. He's similar to that, which is not really what I look into for in a character. So not really my type of character, especially as the main character. However, motivation, fine. Motivation, totally like those. I like how it evolves. I like the callbacks every now and then. Totally cool. Okay. Now, the other characters, to be honest, You see some characters in the scene. The only one I probably did not really meet in the first 3 episodes is the pink-haired character. All the other ones I met or have seen. The only one I really like is the little puppet. All the other ones I don't really care too much about. Some of them are not necessarily bad, but this is more or less our main rival, like the Sasuke to our Naruto, if you want to say like that. Do not like him at all. Do not like him. He has this stupid quirk of, oh, I'm going to curse, but I'm going to apologize. Curse, apologize. Curse, apologize. It's like, fuck you, sorry. Fuck you, sorry. It's like, I don't. We have this character. I did not really see much of him, but he seems very scared, doesn't really have the confidence, but instead of feeling like someone with low confidence, he feels very scared. Maybe something more similar to Demon Slayer, but who knows. This character I found acceptable. Didn't really have anything negative to say against him. The same with the girl, also not really much negative. There seems to be something more going on with her, but they did not really go into too much detail. And this is the teacher, I believe. Don't care about him either. So I don't really have many characters I care about. Again, motivation-wise, totally fine with the main character. I like the little puppet. Very upbeat. Like him, I don't know. All the rest already meh. We got introduced to some other characters, somewhat to a bunch of teachers. There's so many things I do not really gel with. Okay. Now, naturally, story stuff happens. Our guy joins this more or less school. These are all high schooler that are naturally in a school because reasons. I guess it's always needed to be in a school. Now that I think about it, it is. JJK has a school, Naruto has a school. I believe Bleach doesn't have a school. One Piece doesn't have a school. It is, but a lot of them have a school. At least this is like a school where they have these exorcist stuff happens. Okay. Now, the fight scenes, we do see a couple fight scenes. They are okay. They're not really exceptionally interesting or good. They're not necessarily super bad. They're just okay. I would even say more meh than okay. Let's keep on track before I go too much into detail. So, story-wise, I mean, I like the idea. I like the idea of, social media, dead accounts, makes sense. We don't really, first 3 episodes, there's a lot of stuff unanswered. We don't really know why these ghosts manifest and they then can decouple from the device they are from. Why they do that, we also don't know. It feels like it's like, yeah, they do that because they want to hurt humans. Why, I don't know. There are other shows that make ghosts a lot more interesting. It's, why would a ghost want to hurt someone? Because they want to hurt someone. But why? Why is the reason? There are shows where you have a ghost or an entity that wants to hurt specific people because it's more or less a revenge, because this ghost is part of a person that got hurt by these type of peoples, as example. You can do interesting stuff like that, instead of we need an enemy. There we have an enemy. Wait a little bit, again, first 3 episodes, there's a lot of stuff that is not being explained. It may be explained later, but 3 episodes are already a lot of time to give to a show. Now let's go to ratings then. I'm going to yap a little bit more, as always. AniList has it at 62%, my anime list at 6.44. Now ratings, again, it's first impressions, 3 episodes. I'm not going to put any of these ratings anywhere. These are all temporary, just for me and for the video. They're never going to be put on a site unless I review the whole series. Then, and only then, I'm going to put any of the ratings on these sites. With ratings, I'm always a little bit... It's always a little bit hard because I try to do my rating before I see the ratings of other people, because as soon as I see other people's rating, my rating is going to be influenced if I want to or not. So I was a little bit iffy on my rating because I am somewhat negative. And for me, it is a 6 out of 10. It's meh. The animation is not really hitting well. The characters I don't really like. The story could be interesting. I could see some good stuff happening here. But the first 3 episodes, there's so much that I did not like that it's just meh. Now, we are going into spoiler. I'm going to yap a lot, potentially, depending on how lazy I am. So, spoiler. The sister dies. Now, it was a little bit confusing because we get to see our character. He's like sitting there. He stopped doing YouTube, which also already put a red flag for me. Okay, maybe his sister's dead. He doesn't need the money anymore. He seemed fine because on his phone he was, using a line to message with his sister. So I was like, oh, maybe sister's there. Maybe money was enough. We find out the sister is dead and her account got possessed by a spirit. Now, for me, already a couple questions. Is it the spirit of the sister? Or is it just a spirit that took hold of the account, is getting fed the image of the sister by our main character interacting with that account? We don't really get an explanation, just the questions I had at the time. Now this culminates in our character getting attacked by this dude. I call him asshole. He tries to destroy the phone because the phone is possessed. He wants to exorcise the spirit, so he wants to destroy the phone or do whatever. Now it doesn't really work out. The spirit comes out. Asshole tries to fight the spirit, is losing. This means our main character has to go and he's awakening his power so he can fight against the spirit of his sister by remembering a sentence that asshole said to him a minute ago. He got, the will to fight against his sister. Typical shonen stuff. He wins. Okay, spirit is exercised. We get introduced to the whole group in the first episode. Now, we find out later that normally, if you send someone to exorcise the spirit, you send them in a team of at least 2 people. Makes sense. One person could fight, hold off something. The other person can help or get help, can, get reinforcement. He was alone. Why? Never gets explained. Just is the case. He was alone, I guess. Already one of those red flags. Now, in episode 2, our main character is in the school. Stuff happens. We get introduced to some characters, to the teacher. It doesn't really matter. We get a big fight between him and asshole. Now, we then find out that our main character has the blue flame, which we later find out is called the demon flame. And he uses it to fight against asshole with a hammer. Now, in that fight, the hammer dude, He uses his hammer normally, like a hammer, okay. He can also split it up into like a bunch of copies that then rain down on an enemy with 0 animation. It was not that great. However, we saw him use these attacks against the ghost. He can also extend and retract his hammer, and he can enlarge his hammer for a big hit. Those 2 attacks, as far I definitely know the enlargement not, but the extending, retracting, I'm pretty sure, he did not use against the ghost. Meaning that he did not use all his power against the ghost for some reason, which is pretty stupid, just so he can use them in this fight that has no real value, because this is justified because our character wants to know who killed his sister. We find out she got killed. She didn't die from sickness, she got killed by a ghost that has the same power as him. Doesn't really matter why. But he wants the information, and the teacher's like, if you want the information, defeat Asshole. He fights against Asshole. Asshole is stronger than he was against the spirit, which makes no sense. Again, the spirit is the one that is potentially hurting, and now we know can kill people. And he was not using 100% of his power. Not even talking about that, he should have had a second person at his side, which he didn't for some reason. Already, like, oh my fucking god, what is happening here? Now, additionally, our character, he has this blue flame. He then uses, in the ghost fight against the spirit, he used it to punch the enemy, to envelop his fist in fire, punch, bam, kill the spirit, awesome. In this fight, he uses those flames on his feet to speed up. Now, the show explains, it is in a monologue where our character is like, oh, yeah, I don't really know why I know that I can use it on my feet. That is the explanation. He doesn't know, he just said like, that is how you use the power. Okay, awesome. I mean, at least it is an explanation, even if it is somewhat unsatisfying. It is an explanation. Give it that. Now, he's also not 100% control. He trips and falls, okay. The second time around, he's perfectly under control for some reason. I don't know why shows like to do that. Whenever a character has high speed, they have to make him run around the enemy for some reason. I don't know. It's not only this series. A lot of series do that. It's very weird. It makes no sense in most cases, unless you do get like after images. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense to run around the enemy, show off your speed. This is your trump card. This is your, the effectiveness of the speed is that the people don't know you have that speed. Now, showing it off is pretty stupid. Here's that fight. Naturally, our guy loses, which comes into episode 3. Now, in episode 3, fucking god. Now, they have a little test. So the idea is they have a little apparatus that can spawn spirits, and the test is you have to defeat 100 of these spirits. If you do that, you get to join the academy. If not, you get tortured. We just ignore that, you get tortured bit somehow. And we try to, to defeat 100 of these in a week. Now, he tries it the first time. He can defeat one and he's already knocked out. And then it's like, okay, we find out that the teacher is like, okay, asshole, you have to teach our new main character. You have to teach him. Okay, that is what he's doing. Now, I assumed it would be like normal teaching, like stamina training, whatever. Now, what they do, which it is effective, they just go to the apparatus again and they just rinse and repeat. Just attack the apparatus or the ghost that the apparatus spawns, until you get 100. Now, not very effective in the world of training, but very goal-oriented, because you only have to defeat 100 of those. So, instead of training in all different areas, just train to defeat 100 of those. So you rinse and repeat against them. Okay. Now, the first day he defeats like 30 something. Second day he defeats a couple less. He gets up to like 40, then he drops a little bit. He goes to 45. He doesn't hit over 50 of those. He can only defeat half the amount he needs, and it is test day. Now, meanwhile, the asshole is like, oh, you need to imagine. You need your imagination to use to better control your power or your mana, spirit energy, so you don't run dry before you defeat 100. Okay, understandable. We have the big test. At this point, he was only able to defeat up to like 40 something. Now the test comes around, he's, slugging it out, the whole school is looking, slugging it out. Then, naturally, because he has the blue flames, we find out the blue flames is something that one of the spirits use, and that spirit is the one that killed his sister. So people don't like him, because they see him as dangerous, which is understandable. So they berate him with hate. Now, this is a callback to episode 1, where all his videos generated a lot of hate. And he uses that hate to more or less lock in, not use as much energy, and defeat all of the spirits. Now, at the time where this hits, I believe he was like, I don't know how many he defeated, but he was under 20% energy. Now, he locks in, and he's able to hit those 100. And I'm like, okay. It would have been a little bit better if he had like 30 plus energy to lock in. He has a little bit more room to grow for the amount of energy he uses, but okay. I can get behind it. Now, at this point, we know one of the teachers hates him because he has a blue flame, I'm assuming. And he's like, oh no, I can't accept this. And he's like spawning more spirits, and this time advanced versions. They are stronger, I don't know what they are just stronger, I guess, I don't know. And he spawns those. Now, our guy, who was at 20% left, whenever he defeated the last 30, 40 spirits, is able to defeat 60 additional of these supercharged enemies before the machine gives up, and was still standing. Bullshit. This is such an awful way to write this. It is so awful, because I am fine with, okay, last 20%, you lock in, you find this power, this, you know how to do this, you get over the finish line, totally fine. Now defeating 60 additional enemies that are stronger than the 100 you defeated before, under potentially 15 or 10% energy, and at the end not stay standing, because as soon as you drop to no energy, you more or less fall unconscious, is fucking insane bullshit. Because those 160 spirits he defeated are probably like 300-400% of his energy normally, and it's like, what the fuck are we doing? Naturally, the teacher is then, oh my god, because his little idea didn't work. No one interfered, by the way, even though I am assuming everyone saw that these are the advanced spirits, because they do look different. And the teacher, naturally, as far as we know, never got any reprimands or anything. I feel like he should be fired on the spot. He interfered with the test. He made it not only harder, he endangered someone for no apparent reason. He potentially could have destroyed the machine, because I'm assuming it is not unlimited energy, whatever. And this is a teacher that should not do any of these at all. So I would probably just fire him because he's dangerous. If that is how he behaves. Just go the official road. Why even hate him? Just because he has the same power? I mean, don't you want him on your side if you believe the power is so strong? Just because an enemy has the power, it's like, oh, the enemy uses an Kalashnikov, so if you will use one, you are an enemy. It's like, why? So many, and this is where I'm really like, oh, this is not good. We speed ran a lot. First episode, we got introduced to all these characters in the picture. Second episode, we get to introduced to these characters again by name. And third episode, we get introduced a third time to all these characters. Because I guess the show is like, hey, you know, they didn't really have any screen time. You don't really have any reason to remember them. Here are the names again. And it's like, Then we speedrun, you know, the whole power system. Our guy is super strong since then for some reason. Or he's super good at using his energy at least. Which you could have used later on to increase again. Now it feels like he went from no energy conservation to 100%. I don't like the characters. I don't like that we get the explanation that, you know, they go in groups, but for some reason our asshole, was solo in the first episode. We find out that he had more strength that he could have used, but he didn't want to for some reason. So many things that I'm like, nah. But that is enough yapping.